Welcome back to the English and English podcast. That's Brett.
That's Eric.
And we got more ridiculous nonsense for you.
I'm going to waste 4 more hours of your life.
4 hours? I wasn't signing up for this.
I didn't sign up for it. Yeah, right. It's not going to be 4 hours.
45 minutes.
45 minutes of your life. With
maybe, or less, depending on what we feel like.
Right.
Depending on how much our bowels trouble us during this. But then, I mean, that's what the pause button's for. You don't know that there's a 45-minute gap.
You don't know how many times
in between
we went to the shitter
yeah, exactly.
in the last podcast. You don't know.
You don't
know.
Could have been 4 times. It could have been while we were doing the podcast.
Right, yeah.
You hear a strained
if there's a slight
laughter.
Echo,
it's
in because we're in the bathroom right now.
I was supposed to get more badass quotes, but I didn't do it. I'll do that on the next one.
Yeah, we'll have to compile a proper list for the next one.
Right.
Because there's some different material there.
Oh, there's this hilarious video. This stuff is so stupid. If you think our videos are stupid, you have to check out this guy's. That he just posted it as like a random comment on totally unrelated to anything that it was a comment on, and it's called the Hot Dog News Channel.
Okay.
On YouTube, he's got like 20 subscribers. They're total nonsense videos, but they've just been cracking me up. And he was like 1,000 subscriber contest. You know, he's like at 18 subscribers or something. Yeah. He was like, when I get to 1,000 subscribers, I will make out with a dog and possibly have sex with it. And then he had another video on like Jade Helm. Have you heard about Jade Helm, the huge military operation?
No.
It's really weird. Anyways, I won't get into that. But he had one like Jade Helm survival preparedness list, like items you need, and they were totally nonsensical. Right. He's like, you need Jello packs and a door. A door.
So wait, what is Jade Helm? Just a real quick.
Oh, well, it's this huge. It's not like a conspiracy that's happening. It's well known, and it's actually is happening. It's this giant military quote unquote training operation across the entire mostly like Southeast. I think Texas especially. But there's a bunch of weird shit going on with it that's making a lot of people think that it's training or like conditioning people to be used to like martial law type stuff. Which
so
normally people freaking out about that stuff. But there is some weird
refugee camp or something.
Sort of. There's some weird shit that's coming out about it. Like that they're like it's really huge. It's multiple states. They're like taking over certain Walmarts. Not like taking over. Like Walmart's obviously allowing it.
But they're running their exercise in the Walmart and stuff.
Yeah, and like the whole and there was like videos of them. The protesters being like, "Oh, I'm a sovereign citizen" and stuff like weird
those
shit
are
like
their
that.
fake protesters.
They're fake protesters. And like, well, and the weirdest thing is the tagline for this giant operation is "Master the human domain." Which is like what?
And they think conspiracy theories are crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in their pamphlets.
What are you expecting is going to happen?
It's in the goddamn pamphlet at this point.
I don't know about the veracity of these claims, but some of these guys are like writing in saying that they're National Guard, like or sheriff people saying like some of the trucks and stuff that they're training with have like shackles into them. So it's obviously that they're training for like
riot suppression,
urban type stuff. Even if they are doing it to maybe supposedly be doing that overseas, it's still just creepy and weird and like with the logo like that, like what the fuck does that mean? Master the human domain? Like what is this? The Empire? Like what are we talking about? I mean, it is, but anyways, I didn't want to get too much into that.
Okay,
but so his video was like Jade Helm survival tools, and it was like that just hilarious. So stupid. Don't get me wrong, it's stupid.
His videos are
they're ridiculously bad, but they're hilarious. I just couldn't stop laughing at them.
Hilarity ensues. Yeah.
So I've probably got him half of his 27 subscribers
just by
liking the videos or something. Yeah.
And your video list showing up in your
video
feed.
They're so stupid though.
Yeah. There's one. Speaking of stupid videos, I'll maybe link to this guy as well. Though I think he's doing all right. I should have sent him to you. Some guy did a series of videos, like a channel called Carnik Con.
I haven't heard.
Where he does like gun videos.
Okay.
On pretty high quality filming for the most part, but he does it all like in character, in this persona of this guy who's always wearing like he's got a mustache and big glasses, like something from like 1970s and 80s action movies,
right?
And he's wearing like sweaters, but then like like a sweater and like an American Speedo or something, or weird stuff. And it was always like the AK-47 is like the greatest gun because like it shoots through things, or I can't quite do it
but
right.
He does this weird persona.
He does this weird like somewhere between Napoleon Dynamite and an over fan of Walker Texas Ranger,
right?
Like some sort of Uber fan, and he does these goofy videos.
That's funny.
Like for example, like
the Rex Kwon Do version of like a gun guy.
Exactly, like the Rex Kwon Do. So those are funny ones too, or whatever. But yeah.
Well, that was the Napoleon Dynamite guy, right? It was Rex Kwon Do.
No, actually, wait, that's another one. There's another guy who does like a series like called the Karate Master or Dojo Master or something like that, and where he's all like, MMA is bad and like not real karate, and like because there are no tiger stances, and like doing these, very tongue in cheek, but playing it straight in character.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, that's funny. There's some good shit on YouTube, man. Surprisingly high. Because when it's a skit like that, you don't need a lot of production. So you have someone who just has a good idea or is a funny character actor. Yeah, and they can make some good stuff that would never really be enough or whatever to get their own show or something, but you can still have access to it. Just like Nicky Nick and The Ultimate Man.
Right, yeah. Well, apparently in that one, I haven't watched much of it, but he does his own show. In that, like, he has little videos where he does kind of like video vlog where he talks about stuff humorously in the character.
Right.
And then he has other ones where he does every so often like little 15, 30-minute episodes of like shows about his dojo. And
I think I've seen that one. That's like it's the dojo one, I think.
Yeah, I think it's called the dojo or something like that, but I can't remember.
Yeah, it's like a web series.
Exactly, it's a little web series.
So that's interesting. So my next topic is our celebrity doppelgangers. Because someone told me that the guy from Daredevil looks like a fat version of me, sort of.
Oh, what?
Foggy
the guy
Nelson?
Plays Foggy Nelson?
I was like, maybe.
Not really.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I guess reminiscent, but the I also get Shaun White a lot, especially for my hair.
Shaun White, you get?
Yeah.
Shaun White, not really either.
I didn't think so until lately, though. I think
I
can see it. He's aged differently. I remember when he was like, his hair was like orange, like carrot top red.
Yeah,
and like he was like 14. So now I can definitely see it now, especially with. I mean, his hair is still more red than mine. Mine's just like dirty blonde or brown, but.
Yeah, but I'm imagining what I'm saying is like nobody would have said you look like Foggy Nelson if your hair was cut.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's just that you don't have enough facial similarities there for that to be.
No. It's just similar looking white, like same category of white dude, but except with the same hair, and he's fatter than I am. So.
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
But the Shaun White one I can see. Again, though, I don't think people would say it if I didn't have the long hair.
I always got William Dafoe.
And another one that
William Dafoe would look. I only look like William Dafoe if I start taking a lot of drugs. Like I need a lot of lines in my face.
Yeah,
to look like that guy.
You
I have a similar
like
big smile, I guess, but I would need to do like. I need to work like on a scooter in the sun
Shaun White
for
as like an
year.
adult. So like obviously he doesn't look like me per se, but I can see people saying it.
Right. Yeah.
Especially with the hair, but his hair is also like weird curly.
I also got another one before, but I can't remember.
Another one that I thought of because I just watched a video was the guy from 303. You definitely sort of look like him.
Oh, the band?
Yeah.
I don't know them enough to
Let me see if I can find the picture. 303. No, and again, it's not like you look like him per se, but
right. But people say those things all the time, so it's always
like I can see that one
to look at it and be like, okay, yeah, or okay.
And it's definitely a more like not as quite of like as Willem Dafoe, where you're like, thanks.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like what?
Like the Foggy Nelson.
Are you telling me I look like my shark?
Like this guy right here, like right there. Or right there. Like I was like,
yeah,
I can see that.
I've gotten Macklemore a couple times, but that's just because my hair
undercut,
Because my undercut that I was rocking.
Because I don't think you really look like him at all.
Maybe a similar jawline, but that's about it. Like,
yeah, but this guy, that's what I can see.
Similar kind of like square.
And not to the level where like people would be like, "Oh, are you that guy from 303?" But like, can say like, "Oh, you look like that guy."
But I don't have like. Yeah, like exactly, like William Dafoe. I think it was really just the fact that in 1, 2 things are smiling and
it's
similar
just with the smile and
because like I don't have like the creases from my nose to my mouth.
Yeah,
and,
what's
like,
funny is one of those where you're like,
oh
yeah, I can see it, haha, but you'd never really be like. It's only funny because it really doesn't look like you, but only in like one little way it does.
Right.
So you're like, oh, hey, look.
Look. That's
great.
also one too. People. A lot of people say those ones as joking around. Those are the funny ones. When people give you a celebrity thing like the Foggy Nelson or William Dafoe, where it's kind of a jab. It's just like it's a ribbing from Fred's. Like, oh yeah.
Well, this wasn't a jab. I think the person was serious about the Foggy Nelson one.
Oh really?
It kind of looks like you. Don't be upset. They're like worried that I was going to be offended.
Right. Yeah. He should be so lucky.
Right.
Foggy Nelson looks like Eric English.
Yeah, you definitely have to get pretty haggard to be.
Yeah,
but generally just like mouth shape and jawline, maybe.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think but like around the
you
eyes
got, like,
and the
sandblasted
face,
on the took meth for a few years.
I need to work on a ship and do hard drugs the whole time.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Be a longshoreman for a few years.
Right. Exactly.
And like this is the one that I remember when they chose was this particular picture, which made it funnier because he was doing like this goofy.
Yeah, no, that's the one I chose. After
that's what you chose.
I did it like,
and that's what
somebody
makes it
made
funny.
the joke, and so I put a picture
of him like
shooting the guns, like smiling and
pointing.
Yeah,
but there's a couple on here that I'm like, I see the general face shape.
Yeah,
and like, that's
but he's still got a shark mouth, like far bigger.
Yeah,
than me, you know?
He's got this huge maw.
Right. But yeah, so it's like it's close enough that I gotta go, yep, okay.
I can see like one or two features, but you definitely don't look like him.
Right, but that's not what people mean when they say look. They mean they have a couple features. It's a way for them to reference somebody popular and make a joke,
Or just reminded them of them in some way.
Or, sometimes other people's brains just work differently than mine, so they see things that I don't, like associations. Yeah.
Which I don't, I guess I could see it, but like that maybe you would recognize some features, but not really.
I mean, I guess it probably, that'd be an interesting thing to compare.
I think it's just the nose and like.
I think a lot of people because human beings have a lot of similarities, right? But I'm imagining that some people's what they notice about people's faces first might be different.
Well, I've noticed that with me and Tony too, because I'll find with my girlfriend, we'll find like an actor, I'm like, man, this person really reminds me of someone else, like either another actor or a real person, because of just a certain thing, and they will be like, what? Because when they're looking at why people are similar, they're looking at something totally different.
Right, like they look at the space of the cheekbones and something else is the first thing they notice.
Maybe I'm noticing like the eyes or the shape of the mouth, or even just like a mannerism that their overall persona reminds me of them versus like their look.
Versus their exact physical structure. Yeah, so like the human facial recognition software, it might all be slightly different between different people.
Right.
And so it can create different effects like that. Like you associate these three people together because their noses are similar. And that's the first thing your subconscious notices. But other people's first thing is ears or something.
Eyes
or distance between eyes. Like the nose and bridge of the nose and eyes area may be the first part you notice. But somebody else may notice smiles.
Have you watched any more of the Daredevil show?
I've still only seen 2 episodes.
Okay. I won't tell you anything because I finished the season now.
Okay, yeah. So
no spoilers, I really don't. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you anything that happens other than to say I really don't like the direction they went with the Kingpin character.
Really?
I don't at all. You'll have to let me know what you think.
Okay.
It's just strange.
Really?
Yeah, it's not like terrible. It's just it's weird. It's just kind of weird.
Okay, I hadn't heard anybody define it as weird yet from those that had seen it.
Yeah, it just for me, it's just I would describe it as incongruent.
Okay.
With what he's supposed to be and what not even what he's supposed to be in the comics, but like what they're presenting him to be in the show and how that person acts. Like the way that they've made this character like his actual character, like personality, he would not be in this position and be able to do these. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
They presented him as they kind of did this thing where they're trying to make him like a weak person who's gotten there by like anger and lashing out or whatever. But it's but that's not really the way it works. Yeah.
Right.
It's weird that he's like. Yeah, it's bizarre. You'll have to watch it. It's just incongruent.
That is bizarre. Because that's entirely the opposite of the comics. Like, the comics is...
Right, but I'm saying even regardless of the comics, say there were no comics, you have this person who's just master of the criminal underworld, and no one can even say his name and everything, and it's just totally incongruent.
And he's there by being petulant, is what you're saying.
Right, he's petulant and, yeah, I was going to use the word petulant, actually, and just kind of, angry and childlike in his motivations.
Yeah, that's I guess they just wanted to try to go a different direction, but that's also dumb.
Well, they wanted to add more depth than just to be this blank slate evil criminal mastermind,
which I understand,
which is fine, but they didn't do a very good job.
But the whole idea, most comics are not lacking depth; they just never go into it because the reason that character works, just like the reason the character of Batman or any other character works, is because something about them, even in the very simple characterization, mostly done in a comic book, rings true.
And I don't even care when they make a character have like a flaw, as long as it works within the story. People are flawed. People make stupid decisions, so that's not a problem in and of itself. But it's incongruent. That's what the
character like Batman or the Kingpin or something represent. It's a character with flaws, but who've turned their flaws into an overriding obsession to overcome them and achieve.
Right, but I'm saying you can't have the flaw go against what that upset. Person who's flawed in that way wouldn't actually do these things.
Right, the person who's flawed into not be able to make plans or suppress their emotions is not going to achieve 1,000 plans.
It's not even that so much. It's bizarre. You'll have to see it. That's the best way I can describe it. Is very bizarre and incongruent.
Huh. Interesting. That's odd.
Yeah,
I thought the choice of actor was a fine choice for the actor.
And
I think his name. I
exactly.
can't remember his name right now.
The guy from. Where do you keep your dad?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio, yes.
Yeah, and
D'Onofrio was a good choice.
And he's got a good look for it and everything, but
and he can play that kind of intensity that you need for the Kingpin character.
It's very strange.
That kind of lizard brain intensity where it's looking at you and it's like, I've probably already killed people today.
Right.
You don't know.
So it's just strange. You'll just have to watch it and let me know what you think. See if I'm just being weird about it, but...
No, I probably think the same thing, not just because I know we typically have the same complaints about movies and stuff like that. Not always the case, but yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, so that other than that, like character flaws per se, like his inability to kill people, regardless how stupid it may be in the situation, like as annoying as that is, right, as annoying as that is, it's still something like, okay, this person might think that, and they show the realistic. Well, not only that, but they show the realistic consequences of that.
Right.
Like he doesn't kill this guy, so then he comes back and starts endangering other people. Where he could, like, okay, that's the obvious consequences of you didn't kill this guy, and now he's there to make issues. And they don't really deal with that in the show as being a problem,
right?
Which I would. I mean, like, are you fucking stupid? Like, you've created more problems than you've helped.
Right,
like, if you show up someplace to where there's a bunch of mobsters and just beat them all up and then be like, that'll teach you, they're just going to be like, fuck, and then go back to work. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I don't understand.
And their work is
I guess you're calling
people.
the cops on them, supposedly, and getting them in prison, but I always prefer the Punisher methodology better. Fucking kill them.
Right, but I mean, like, they can do it. That's something that could just be a flaw of the show, not showing it. But yeah, like in the comics, again, it was largely because of the censoring that was going on and the fact that they had to make sure they always had like G or PG ratings with the comics, that most of them had to be non-killers.
So they gave them this motivation for...
Right, they made it that like almost all the good heroes, and then they braved it for a little while with some anti-heroes like the Punisher.
Right.
And then it finally turned out that they didn't need to worry about censoring anymore, so they just did whatever. But even the characters, like a lot of characters, they try to make them like not... wanton killers because they're supposed to be heroes. I understand that character.
But this particular, like, no, can never kill.
Right, but then they have characters on the other side, like Batman or Daredevil, like, that are supposed to be so hard, but then they're like, I never kill. Well, like, Superman's the only one I could conceive getting away with it, because he can literally be like, I never kill because like nothing kills me.
Yeah, so it's like cruel to just kill.
Yeah, it's like, I could literally obliterate the planet.
Yeah, because he doesn't need to.
But... there's no need for me to kill, for the most part, because I could simply just take somebody and fly them to prison in a second.
Right.
Like... You know, and they usually have him do that. Like, he wraps them up in metal beams and then leaves
drops them in the prison.
Or like Spider-Man never kills, but he doesn't do as much moralizing about it as like Daredevil.
That's the thing.
And he tends to just
even if they never have them kill people in the thing, it's different than if they have them constantly talking about how they will never and can't ever. Because you always assume with someone like Spider-Man, like, if he needed to, he would. He's never said, like, I refuse under any circumstances to kill anyone.
I think they've had some episodes or issues.
Maybe in the comics. I haven't read
in the comics or something where, like, he tries, you know, but that's just
not
the drama there.
Part of the character. Like
yeah.
I can't, no matter what.
Right, it's not a pathological
With Daredevil, they act like if the guy was lunging for a button to, like, nuke the entire planet, he would have a moral dilemma about shooting him or something.
Right, yeah,
and I'm like, that's stupid.
Yeah, like,
you know what I mean?
With, like, other characters,
like some worthless...
other characters, they typically make, on occasion, they'll have it where, like, I have to stop this guy, but I don't want to kill him. Oh no, and it, you know, creates a simple choice they can solve in 3 panels, but makes it dramatic. You know, like, oh no, I'll use this clever method of doing this with my superpowers, and that'll stop him. And then, and then he goes, "Curses, you know, curses, Spider-Man, you have bested me." You know,
exactly.
But yeah, like, and that was actually an interesting issue of one of the, and of course, it got a lot of stupid nerd rage because I mean,
what did?
This one issue of Captain America.
Where he killed someone?
Yeah, because like it had been a long time where Captain America never killed anybody in the comics because of all the rules about censoring and everything else. And so then after like 9/11, in some of the books where Captain America was kind of starting to make a comeback, but slightly before the run that got all the popular stuff, got him really popular again with the stuff that ended up being the inspiration for Winter Soldier movie and everything like that, those storylines. They had an issue where like a terrorist comes in and Captain America, the guy has like a trigger bomb kind of thing, dead man, something where Captain America has to make a call, and so he breaks the guy's neck. Like he uses the shield, jabs him and you know grabs his hand with his hand, breaks his neck and kills him.
And then the button or whatever.
Right, and then they can disarm the bomb.
While he's holding the switch.
While he's holding the switch with his own hand, you know, like kind of thing. Like it's so. Because he knew, like, the guy was willing to die, wanted to take people with him.
He's going to die anyway.
He just killed him and stopped the bomb.
I don't even see how that's like a...
Right, yeah. And so, of course, some people got, like, Captain America never kills. He's a hero. And then, like, other people were like, it's the soldiers, like, I think the storyline was even called...
He's a fucking soldier.
Right, the storyline was even called The Soldier's Choice. You know, like, you have to...
And these are probably the same people that worship cops and don't give a shit that they gun down people every day.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
And it's like, it comes not about the moral choice of the moment or in the... That's what's so funny. It's like these people will say they're moral relativists, but then they'll be very emphatic about certain things like, oh, killing is bad. And then like somebody who's a moral objectivist who says there are certain moral codes that are absolute will be more willing to bend with the flow of the moment. You know, like by saying like, things like integrity and truth and honor are moral objectives, but
not an individual action.
Not an individual action of fighting a guy.
Sort of like for killing versus murdering. Like,
right, yeah.
They saw like a death is bad, and they're like, what? And when it's not necessarily, that's not really what you're talking about.
But anyway, we're getting down into another one of the
nitty-gritty
rabbit holes.
I don't have any other topics.
Well, I have
topics of humor.
No good segue out of this one.
Oh, I have one though. But
oh well, yeah. This one's funny. I don't know if I'll be able to link to it because I can't remember exactly where I saw it. But it's just it was baffling in its stupidity, and I looked at it and I was like, "How is this a news story?"
Oh, that's
and
don't get me started. Actually, my next topic is on quote unquote journalism. But
right? Yeah, we'll go on to that because this one's super benign, but it's also just like this is the state of the internet. It just needs so much meat for the the mill.
It's the equivalent of like them they're making so many securities with mortgages. They're like, hey, you don't want a mortgage here? Come in.
Right?
They need material every day. They
and
don't
also
care
it was just
how
so
lame
dumb. It was twofold dumb, and I'll tell you the two
layers,
pieces. 2 layers
peeling
of
back
dumb.
The layers of this rotten.
First, I'll say what it is, then we'll break it down for you. So, Facebook link has that hive of scumability.
Yeah, exactly. Has there ever been a more wretched hive of scumability
than Facebook and its myriad of links backs? So somebody linked something, and it was some nerd stuff, and it was like, look at this, like, what if China had their own Avengers, And I was like...
So?
And okay, in comic books, that's actually been done different times. Like,
the alternate universes and stuff.
Right, or they make up a series of... And they never last long because they're not actually made by people who care about them. They're just made for a storyline.
But they're a gimmick, yeah.
Yeah, they've made characters like, okay, China, America has all the superheroes, so China's made their own government-sponsored superhero team, and then Avengers have to fight alongside them, or maybe fight them at some point.
If they become too communist.
Right, yeah, or something. Usually in modern day, they're some like happy-go-lucky, we all get along with the other parts of the world kind of thing. Or it may just be an honest, the best cases is typically an honest case, like, well, every character's been done at this point.
Right.
The only thing we haven't done is give other countries their own superheroes. We've got superheroes all over.
In this world, that would happen.
Yeah, exactly. It was like noticing a hole in your own
universe
reality.
You've created,
like you've created a world full of superpowered beings,
and all the
China, and all the superheroes are in like Russia, Europe,
and
America,
States.
And South America, and then it turns out all of Asia got forgotten. Like there's no Indian superheroes.
Or very few African
How many billions are there? Well, they actually do have African.
A couple, but still, you're talking about like between Africa, India, and China. There's like
how much is percentage of the population
or something crazy.
Yeah.
So,
and if there's things like mutants and stuff that just
there would be a lot of them there.
There'd be a lot of them there,
just by statistics.
Right? Yeah. So some of it's that. But anyway, what was so dumb about this article is all it was head swaps. They took pictures from the movies and put like an Asian head on it.
So it's like, this is what it would be. So it's not even a new character.
So it's not even a new character. It's not like Captain China.
It's especially stupid because they're not American. Like, Thor isn't an American.
Right, yeah. And if China had their own Captain America, it'd be Captain China.
Right.
And he wouldn't be wearing the red, white, and blue.
Right, yeah.
Like, what
He'd
the
be Captain
fuck?
Tommy or something.
Yeah, it would like be the People's Champion or some
the Ghost of Mao or something.
Right, yeah, like Ghost of Mao, that's a good one. Like, no, but like, so, for example, one of them...
People's Warrior or something.
Right, yeah, like, Soldier of the People or some PR firm name, kind of thing that has meaning in China.
Or the Hulk would be like Kaiju or something.
Right, yeah. I think that's Japanese, but yeah.
Oh, you're right, that is Japanese.
Yeah.
Whatever,
yeah. But yeah, like, it was the laziest piece of photoshopping and the stupidest article.
Well, it's not making a point. You're like, so Chinese people look different than
that's why it was too dumb. It wasn't making a point. It was lazy as crap. All it was a head swap.
Right.
And people were liking it on Facebook because they're like, oh yeah,
so much diversity or something.
Yeah, and that's again so much diversity. It's actually none diversity.
Right.
It's you saying it's cool to have a character if you change his race. He's not actually representing his culture in any way.
Or doing anything.
Right.
You're taking something that exists and just changing it for...
You're taking something that exists and changing the race of the guy in the suit.
You know what they just did?
Yeah.
They culturally appropriated.
Exactly.
Cultural
appropriation, white culture.
Where's my trigger alarm? Trigger warning.
Why are you throwing any black superheroes? Because you culturally appropriate.
That's what's funny, because they do that shit too. They make all this noise about not being enough black or whatever superheroes, and then they just take the ones that were white and make them black.
Right.
And it's like, come on, guys. Like, I don't give a shit if you make black superheroes.
There's guys who invented black superheroes and they ignore them.
Right. And the black people ignore them too.
Right. That's the problem.
Most of the time, it's just like these old superheroes that were made when most of the country was white. Most of the country still is white, know
right,
what I mean?
But it's not only that. A lot of people ignore superheroes in general.
Well, it was white people making white superheroes. Everyone liked them because they were cool characters.
Right.
And there wasn't like some big aspect of their thing that they were white, you know what I mean? It's just like a white person drew a white dude, and like it's not a big deal.
That's what's
and then
so
they come up
funny
with these
about
like kind of lame
it'd be like going
superheroes much later.
It'd be like going into Greece,
yeah,
and looking at Greek mythology and saying there's not enough Africans or Asians in this Greek mythology.
Yeah, it's Greek people writing Greek stories.
Superheroes are American and British mythology.
Yeah, and they weren't trying to make a statement about the fact that these guys were white.
Right.
That's what white people were drawing their own, you know.
Right. And there have been black creators who created black characters.
Right.
And instead of saying, hey, look at these, they go, change some of these to black.
Right. Or if one isn't as popular because it was just... And honestly, there's not a lot of superheroes of any kind that got super popular after a certain time.
Yeah.
Like, all the ones that are super well known were made a long time ago.
They have the benefit of decades of
like the Punisher
existence.
is one of the latest probably ones that's gotten really popular like that. And there's some like
There's
Watchmen or Guardians of the Galaxy, but they're still not in the public like zeitgeist to the extent that
and
like
a lot
Superman
of those characters
or a
are
Spider-Man.
reinventions of other characters.
Exactly, yeah. And so I mean, to that extent, it doesn't matter anything about the superheroes.
Yeah, you're right. Something
like, not a lot
something
of new
like the Punisher
ones.
is probably one of the latest ones that like anyone in the world would recognize that logo. Like everybody
Right.
knows Spider-Man, Superman, Batman,
right?
and you do the
and
Punisher
Hulk
skull,
and whatever, and people are going to
go
almost as often.
That's
Like
Punisher.
if they know all that, they'll know them too.
Right? Yeah.
And but yeah, like beyond that, like and that was early '80s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was and there's not many at that level that have become popular. And so it's not because they're black. When you see one like, oh, I came up with this cool black character, it's not popular. Most of the new characters that they come up with don't become that level of popularity. And it's like add to the fact that a lot of the new ones come up with kind of weird in some way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Fill
Like
some niche that's not there.
Like obviously a lot of these things have already been done, so you can't just
Right.
And it has nothing to do with the fact they're black, but when they don't succeed wildly, they blame it on that.
But the other thing too that it's not acknowledged is that there's just not a whole lot of black creators out there trying to be comic book artists.
I know, but that's not. You can't tell people that because that doesn't make it. It's like when they walk in.
The artists in the black community are going to, not to like rap or music or something.
Right.
Like I have known some guys who wanted to be artists.
Yeah.
And like a couple black guys wanted to be artists, and they tended to do more like Street Fighter, Kung Fu anime type stuff.
Right, and not like typical.
And not like
and even if they
typical
did, say they
tights.
do the exactly typical comic book stuff, you're still talking about like somewhere, I don't remember the exact, somewhere in the 8 to 15% of the population. So like right off the bat, there's going to be a less chance. If you took any random group of 8% of the white artists, there's not any better chance that their stuff's going to
even that I just said is kind of irrelevant point. I guess the better point is just to say, look at Africa.
Right.
They've been able to publish their own materials for a long time in these countries.
Right.
And they haven't developed a superhero industry. It's not part of their mythos for themselves.
But again, and then it also goes back to like, look at the past 20 years and how many of any kind of superheroes have really gotten that popular in that time.
Exactly. And so it's
not,
a couple factors.
Right.
Anyway, long rabbit hole that is. But yeah, back to this dumb Chinese Avengers. It was the laziest thing I ever saw. A head swap. Literally, they just took
it's like, what if they were Brazilian? They just put a Brazilian flag on the uniform or something.
Right, it still is Captain America's uniform.
But he's got, like,
and they put like Nogueira's head on it or something.
Exactly. Slightly darker skin.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like, what is the point
get a picture from an MMA
people
guy.
in China look different than guys in America? That's all they really say.
Wouldn't it be cool if guys from China were in their suits? Like
no,
wouldn't it be cool if you invented some Chinese heroes?
Right, if you want a Chinese hero, make it actually that's something that has something to do with being Chinese.
Right.
Or even realistically, if it was from, instead of just literally swapping a face.
Right, yeah. It was the laziest, dumbest thing ever, but they still got brownie points because it was diversity.
But it's not. That's the funny thing.
It's not diversity. Like there have been, like DC Comics did a run in the similar kind of thing where like China came up with their own superheroes. They were tired of all these American superheroes being the only one to run around the world.
Right.
And they never ended up being that popular because they were, like I said, they're too new. They're not
they're too new, and the people
and they represent a foreign country instead of our country, so it's not like going to be as popular here. And the people in China aren't buying these comics.
No, they're buying their own stuff.
But it was a good story purpose. Like they created these characters, and they were all characters that were representative of Chinese culture. Like their leader had some name that in English translated to like August General in Iron or something like that, which sounds stupid to us, but is meaningful in their Chinese
which is what
characters.
It would be. Like,
right, like to us, like Laser Man would probably translate to something stupid in their culture, because you can't combine the words that way in Mandarin or something. You know,
who knows? But yeah, that's hilarious that they just did that.
Yeah, like it literally was a picture of Captain America costume from the movie exactly as is. They didn't make it red and put the yellow star with a Chinese guy's, like a male Chinese model's face on it. Like, I'm looking on.
And it's like, what difference does this make?
And then it's like Thor, but he's got black hair. And then Asian. They're like, what?
Who cares?
Like, Thor's a Norse god.
Right,
That's the whole point. It was a cultural character. Like, why can't...
Right, it'd be as stupid as if they took, like, a fucking... I don't know, one of the, like a Buddha, and tried to make him look like a Norwegian.
Yeah, like how mad would they get if, like, how mad would they get if,
Buddha was Norwegian?
Like Keanu Reeves wants to play the Buddha. And they'd be like, Buddha wasn't white.
Yeah, well, he's half Asian, actually.
Yeah, but the real Buddha was Indian.
Well, there's a China, I guess.
The first Buddha.
Siddhartha.
Yeah. Siddhartha, yes.
But, what was I going to say now?
Although technically Indian is some subset of Caucasoid or whatever.
Yeah, they're Caucasoids, the Indians are. But he's half Mongoloid.
Yeah. He's half Mongoloid.
Well, that's what they are. There's Caucasoids, Mongoloids, and Negroids.
Yes.
So what we call the Asians are the Mongoloid phenotype or whatever.
Right,
Anyway. But anyway, speaking of shitty journalism.
Right.
Someone, the place I got Mongo from, the rescue, is called Plenty of Pitbulls. So they're all just like, oh, Pitbulls are greatest and everything. Which, I like Pitbulls, obviously. I have a big fat one.
Right, yeah.
And, but they always, they're prone to histrionics too sometimes.
Yeah, everybody likes to champion their cause.
But not too bad. I haven't noticed too. Just more like, oh, look at this. Oh, here, we yell all of our pit bulls. And like, yeah.
We have all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, just give me the dogs shots.
And, right. And someone on Facebook, they linked to something that, I don't even think I was subscribed to them. One of my friends actually replied to it, and I saw that.
Right, yeah.
But someone had written an article in the Gainesville Sun called, like, why do people feel the need to get bullies as dogs or something? And what's funny is that there was this really hilariously dumb article about this guy who has, like, a lab or a golden retriever or something. He sounds like a fucking, I don't know. He reminded me of if he was like a, what's that? Woody Allen or the cousin from South Park. It's like, it's so dry.
Right,
like, that's what I thought of when I was listening to the guys. Right? Why does everyone feel the need to have bullies for dogs? They're bred to kill and all this stuff.
Big dogs is scaring my little dog.
Well, his dog isn't little. He said it was a 90-pound golden retriever, so it's a big dog. But the story is basically he taking this dog around everywhere, and it's getting attacked by all these mean dogs. I'm like, dude, it sounds like your dog is shitty.
Right,
you take it everywhere, and it's having problems. It's not everyone else.
I owned a lab we had a lab as a kid, and I don't remember him getting attacked all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And like but it was funny because the type of stories
I remember him getting along with most animals.
Yeah, and he was telling all these stories about like he went there and the dogs were just beset upon it. All he wants to do is chase his ball. He is beautiful. But it's funny because, anyways, he gets through all this stupid shit.
So it sounds like an autistic guy got an autistic dog.
Right.
And it turns out it also doesn't get along with other creatures.
Around people when he's there and dogs because he's weird. But you get to the end of it and it says, David E. Carlson, or whatever his name is a professor of journalism at UF. And I'm like, are you fucking joking? This article, I thought it was written by a 12-year-old.
Right. This is
like content completely aside, regardless of what you think about the issue.
The way it was
written like a 12-year-old.
God.
Like literally, and I'll link to it just so you guys can see. It was like short, choppy sentences.
Like I could do an editor's job on this and make it a better article.
I mean, you would tell him to rewrite it.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I could do a rewrite and throw it back in his face and be like, even with I can even take this stupid premise and make a better article.
Supposedly he's a professor at UF who has 25 years in like journalism experience. I'm like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
And like, obviously he's an idiot because of what he wrote. But how he wrote it is like just awful, regardless of if you agree.
So he lacks both ideas and craft.
Right. And
he was like, disagree with someone's ideas.
How his dog got like savaged by these pit bulls, and then he's like, the vet bills are already $100. And everyone's like, whoa, wait a second, $100?
That's a minor.
Well, that's like you go in there and you're like, hey, can you check out my dog? I'm like, oh, he's okay. Got a little scratch here. Here's the $100. Just checking him out.
So a stitch is like $100.
Well, no. I mean, that means just to see him. Just the inspection is probably $100. Maybe put a salve on it or something. If there's any serious injury, it would have been more than $100.
Right, exactly.
I mean, not that vets are even that expensive compared to like hospital.
Any medical,
but like you didn't do anything serious
in
for
multiples
$100.
of hundreds.
Right? Yeah.
You walk in the door, they take $100 out of your wallet.
Yeah.
And they're like, and you're like, hey, I haven't even been seen yet. It doesn't matter.
Right. You're here, aren't you?
You're here, aren't you?
But yeah, I mean, obviously he wasn't like maimed like he was describing. It's if you go somewhere and you're having a problem everywhere with everyone's dogs, it's probably not everyone's dogs.
Right.
And he's just saying like these dogs were he kept saying like bred to kill, born and bred to kill, and all this stuff. And he's like they had no idea that they're cute little they'd never seen their cute little killer act like this before. And I'm like, so wait a second. So first of all, you're saying that he's attacked everywhere. Then you're saying this dog who these people had never seen act the way before acts that way around your dog.
Yeah.
And so everyone else is
bred
fault.
to kill
right.
that never acted this way before.
Right.
But still bred to kill.
Right. Still bred to kill, but had never done that before.
Right. Clearly.
Yeah. So that's hilarious.
Weird. That's funny. He probably just has some dog that oozes weakness, and
it's probably there's a lot of dogs that are like annoying or don't know how to act around other dogs and piss them off.
Dogs can have personality
they can be autistic like that too. Like my girlfriend's dog is sort of like that. He doesn't cause issues because he's kind of skittish, but he's weird.
Himself,
but he's weird and doesn't know how to play real well, so he'll get some dogs pissed off sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
But he won't like fight with them, so he'll run off. But
yeah, exactly.
He just doesn't know how to interact. And if the dogs are a big dog like that, maybe it starts acting weird and scares him.
Yeah, that was funny. Bit. Like I think
he said it was a 90-pound dog.
Because Bill Burr has like a pit bull too, and I listened to his podcast.
But his is like a normal size too, like 60, 40, 60 pounds.
But he was saying like around like he thinks the problem like that people overreact about pit bulls and certain dogs
are scary looking.
Well, it's not only that; it's that they talk about like them being bred to kill and everything. It's extra mean. It's like no, every dog does these things. It's just that all these people used to Pomeranians. It can't hurt anybody.
Well, and also, but there's way more bite incidents from little dogs than big dogs.
Right. It's just that it doesn't hurt anybody.
It's not dangerous.
Right.
I mean, it hurts, but it's not going to kill you.
A pit bull is genetically designed to have very strong jaws. Right. So if it gets scared enough that it feels the need to bite or
it's going to be a serious bite.
It's going to be a serious bite.
Whereas if the little thing nips at you, you won't even remember that happened.
But like, I've never seen any of the animals that mine or my family
bitten dogs act aggressively towards me dozens of times, and they were all shitty little dogs.
Little teacup.
Yeah, the people don't. It's not looked as a risk because it's not the dangerous dog.
Right, exactly what I was going to say.
So when you see Mongo with his
all of my
20-inch neck, and they're like, "Oh my god, if this dog gets mad at me, it's going to be a serious problem."
Right, yeah. Amongst all of my family and the people who own dogs, the only one that I've ever had like nip at me or bite me, it's always been the small ones.
Yeah.
Or that even I've seen bite a relative or friend who came by like to try to feed the dog and it got spooked and it bit at them. It was the tiny ones.
Right.
And then of course nothing came of it. They got
because it's just not dangerous.
It just wasn't dangerous. And then like the big ones, if you train them properly, they typically never have an issue. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was just hilarious. I was just mainly mentioning it because of the whole like journal. I'll link to this. Let me think, because it was like weird. Like, let me find it because I want to read some of these like weird choppy sentences.
Yeah, gotcha.
That were just fucking bizarre. Just a second, I'll pull it up here somewhere. All right, so I found it. Let me just pull it up real quick on the tab. David E. Carlson. It is beyond me why so many people want a bully for a dog. Here's the article. My dog cares about only 3 things: his human, swimming, and chasing his ball. Those things are his life. Champ is an imposing fellow, a 97-pound golden retriever. He is a fabulous specimen, a full-blooded golden that came to us 3 years ago after being abandoned at a Jacksonville shelter. Who knows how he got there? We don't. Under different circumstances, Champ might have been a show dog. He is that beautiful, but he doesn't care about that. He's not about swagger or bravado or any of that macho stuff. He's not a coward either. He just wants to chase his ball.
When you have to qualify it.
Yeah, we have a big backyard, but it is not big enough for Champ to really stretch out, so we began to go to Squirrel Ridge Dog Park on Wilson Road. Champ just wanted to run, but a black lab followed him around and mounted him at every opportunity. The lab was always there, every weekend, and the owner must have been there too, but that owner never stepped forward to control the animal. Champ just ignored it. All he wanted to do was play ball, but it continued.
He lied back and thunk of England.
Eventually, I decided to take Champ to a park at a different time, so we tried evening. What a big mistake. That's when we encountered the really dangerous dogs, animals bred to kill. One of the owners of such a dog, complete with spiked collar, told me he's seen 3 dogs killed at Squirrel Ridge Park. Before I continue reading, this guy probably saw what this guy was like and was like, yeah, dude, dogs get killed here all the time. You probably don't want to come back.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Probably the guy did everyone a favor. He's like, dogs, they get murdered here all the time.
Just go, yeah.
Yeah, bro, I saw dogs get shredded here. I would have fucked with someone like that if they come like, oh my god, he's attacked me. Yeah, dude, shredded, man.
Right,
you're sitting there with your dog. You're talking about dogs are murdered there all the time.
Right,
Give me a break.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been to Squirrel Ridge. I've never even heard of a dog.
You're right. This guy came up and said, like, oh, the air is so dry.
Hey, if your dog you get attacked here, why do you have such a dangerous
dog? Look at my dog. He's getting mounted.
Right.
What are you doing? Why does he have spiked collars? This is so dangerous.
So perhaps he just wanted to scare us away. It worked. Good. That guy did everyone there a favor. Champ, poor fellow, didn't understand. He just wanted to fetch his ball. Like, see how it's written? Like, these weird, like, short sentences and, like,
that's
he's trying to make it
taught to be to appeal to the.
But I mean, it's not even the fact that they're short sentences. It's like he's writing it like it's a kid's.
But yeah, it looks like a Champ.
He just wants to chase his ball.
Champ will chase
he didn't want to bully.
He did not want bully.
Next, we started going to the city's new dog park, Hazley.
Big black bully.
It's a lot smaller, but it was big enough for a while. Yeah, so it just keeps going. There's a couple of incidents with unfriendly dogs. Scary, but no serious harm was done. It made me increasingly wary, though. And
scary, literally like scary, period? No serious harm was done?
No, it's with unfriendly dogs, scary, but no serious harm was done.
That came across weird still.
It should have been a semicolon, I think.
It was scary. would have been the appropriate, like...
Yeah, but I mean, he's doing...
I guess he has to do a word count kind of thing. Like
maybe increases where they'll begin to ask... He said, I began to ask people if their dogs were friendly before champ, and I entered the park. Sure, if some person came up to me and was like, is your dog friendly? I would instantly know that I was like, this is going to be a problem. I'd be like, no, please leave. He's not.
He's
just like when people on eBay, if they ask me a question, like it can be a normal question like that. There's nothing wrong in and of itself with that question, but it gives you a hint about the person.
About
like when a lot of times someone will send me a question like, is this a real red or is it more purple? I can't tell by the picture. I don't even normally answer them. Because I'm like, this person is so much more likely to not be happy with the product just by knowing that question, even though it's a legitimate question. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't even want them to buy it.
But if they can't tell from the picture, they probably
if they're that worried about, like, the difference between a reddish purple or purplish red, then I don't even want to deal with them.
Right, yeah.
It's not worth their $7 that I'm going to get off.
Right, yeah, exactly. And at that point, they can pay the specialty price to get exactly what they want somewhere.
Right. I mean, and it's not even, maybe they won't be that, but it's just so much more of an indicator of possible risk, and I'm just like, no, next, please. Yeah. I'd rather not deal with this person just because there's too many risk factors. Just like a 16-year-old isn't necessarily going to drive worse. But they have to deal with the insurance companies deal with the fact that a lot of them do.
Right.
But yeah, so if someone asked me that, I'd say, "Is your dog nice?" And before I'd be like, "No, please leave.
Right, yeah.
It'll kill you and your shitty dog." Your dog's friendly.
He has finished eating a small Mauser a moment ago. Like
yeah. So, anyways, I'm not going to read the rest of those, but
yeah, that was much more statico, like chopped children's sentences.
Just like he's trying to make it sound like a poetic book or something. Like he thinks he's writing well, and this is
I don't know. Yeah, some of it might be. I guess to give him some potential credit, some of it might be the word count limits in like articles. Like they can only be an article
like
a certain
in
number
an editorial.
Like you can only fit.
Yeah, but then you just switch what you're putting in there to not, you know what I mean?
Right. Like, but I think I could still make a sentence that flows properly, or without seeming like a child is writing in 6-word sentences.
It's just poorly. I mean, it's not terrible, but for someone who's a 25-year veteran of the journalism industry, and apparently was a columnist,
shouldn't have an immediate response of this writing is weird.
Right. Yeah. That shouldn't be my auto. I mean, I'm not expecting to be like impressed with how amazing some random article is written, but he shouldn't be like caught off guard by like, what? This is written so strange. And I thought that before I saw that he was a journalist. I was like, this guy's writing is weird. It's just not like it's not
right. Huh.
And I think it's probably what I'm guessing is that his writing about something that's not had anything to do with him is probably fine. But when he's such a weird fucking person that when he's writing about, I'm sure he's obviously got some personality flaws, and they come through when he's writing about things that happen to him and have some sort of personal connection to him. If he was writing about like a new super center getting put up, he probably wouldn't have this weirdness going on.
That'd be interesting. Can you click the link in his name on the article and see what?
Well, no, because this is an editorial. He doesn't work there anymore, but I can try and find him.
Okay. Well, anyway, you can do that. One of the things I can't remember what article or something prompted it in me recently, but this week, since our last podcast, I wanted to do a little. It was something about purchasing power, and like some people basically trying to, like people still think that the economy's recovering or the recession's not that bad.
People think that once you're looking at the stock market. I always ask people they're like, oh well, look at the stock market. I'm like, why does that mean recovery? And they don't know how to answer that.
Right? Yeah. Like
because more people are making money. Who's making money?
Right. Yeah. Making money doing what? The problem is, even if they're making quote unquote money, they're not actually making anything.
And if anyone who understand anything about valuations knows that this is hilarious.
Right, yeah.
Like the stock market prices,
almost anything
they're hilarious.
At this point, and
money's looking for somewhere to go.
Right, and it's also when the stock market machine moves, it makes money because of the way like debts and stuff work, like the banking machine, I should say, not the stock market machine.
Yeah, there's no volume. It's all high frequency trading, going back and forth between each other. People are like it
becomes justifications for banks to create mini loans and
retirement funds, pension funds all have to put their money somewhere. There's this money being created hand over fist, and it has to go somewhere. It's just going into like real estate and stocks. Yeah.
But anyway, so I was thinking about it, and so I wanted to. There's a lot of ones to do real wages and like a comparison in like in 2013 dollars versus and those kinds of things or whatever. And sometimes that could be a little complicating or obfuscating to some people.
Yeah.
And it can be a little bit hard to track. So I wanted to come up with like a simple rubric to kind of compare how. Oh, and I guess part of it too was they recently did the new, the last season of Mad Men, which was its own whatever. Right. But there was some episode there, and I was like, oh, the price of that was that then, and so it got me thinking.
Right. Yeah.
And like
5 cents for a coffee or something.
Right, something like that. I can't remember what it was, but like
I know that like
how much was
awesome
$1 million in those years?
Oh, man, it's unheard of. Well, because like all these cars that like the late '60s cars, like Chevelles, so they were like $3 to $6 grand for like a brand new car.
Yeah, well, so what I did was I looked at the average wage. So these are all very rough numbers.
Right.
Very rough numbers because it's
macro
just
view of everything.
Macro view, but just to give a general idea, because everything I'm looking at here is in powers of themselves. Like, so many times the wages or so many times the purchasing power. And so it's not like counting 1% discrepancies and it needs to be that precise.
Yeah.
And it's just to give a general rough idea, but also to see how things have changed since like the 1950s and then within the last like 15 years, how much they've changed. And so, for example, I looked at 1955, the year 2000, and 2013 because they don't have 14-15 data yet fully. So average wage in 1955 was $3,300 for like your yearly wage. It was $35,000 in 2000 and $45,000 in 2013. Now, however, that's skewed. The averages are skewed here because averages also hit the high. Like a guy making $1 billion skews the average stronger.
Averages always, are susceptible to outliers.
Technically, in the year 2013 and 14, 50% of American households made $35,000 or less.
Right, and there's a couple people making millions of dollars a year for every, Frank.
But we're still going to use these numbers just for. We're still going to use these numbers just for this comparison. So then I looked at the average, and these are also very rough because it fluctuates so much. But the average price of gold each year, and so it fluctuates a lot. But just to give you a general idea of how much. Now in 1955.
$30.
Gold per troy ounce was $35.
Yeah, it's close. I knew it was 30 something.
And in 2000, it was $280.
Right, and now it's
like $1,300, $1,200 around there. So I went with the.
But it's peaked almost as high as 2000. It almost got 2000.
But that's the average for this year. For these more recent years, it's more difficult because it's fluctuated a lot more.
Right.
But I went with $1,300.
So if you'd saved your money in gold instead of
yeah. But so in the to compare how much gold you can get with a year's wages in those times, like on average, you could get 94 ounces in 1955
of gold.
You could get 125 ounces in the year 2000. So it generally improved overall. And then in 2013, you can get 34 ounces.
Yeah.
So we are doing worse economically. Our purchasing power is down from 1955.
Right.
By
should have done it with
less than
other
half.
Things like gas and stuff.
I also did it for gas.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, so our purchasing power in gold is less than half than 1955 right now, and it is down several times. Like it is 1/5 of what it was in the year 2000.
Right.
Because it was 125, now it's
that's
only
crazy.
34.
10 years or 15 years ago or whatever.
It's dropped that much. And all right, and for gas, I looked at it, and now I wanted to do that comparison as well because not everything is raised or fluctuated by the same inflation, since like gold and stuff. But that was just a general idea of since gold is typically used to store value of money, it would be a useful comparison there. And then I wanted to use gas or milk or something. I decided to go with gas for because it was easy to find the average gas price numbers. That's tracked a lot throughout.
More so than just any
more so than just other random thing. But yeah, like the average price of milk or some staple like gas or milk to give you your general household purchasing power. So for 1955, the amount of gas you could buy with an average yearly wage is 14,300 gallons.
14,000
and change.
55, okay.
Yeah, and because the price of gas was 23 cents in 1955. In 2000, the average price of gas was $1.52, and the amount of gas you could get there was would be 23,000 and
so everything had sort of improved by 2000.
Right, by up to 2000, it had almost doubled in terms of purchasing power from 1955 for gas. But then in 2013, the price of gas average is $3.57, and your purchasing power would have been $12,600. So less than 1955, and and roughly half of what it was in the year 2000.
That would hold true for most metrics. I mean, there's going to be occasionally that certain
because not every good is affected by the price fluctuations the same way or by the market in the same way.
Yeah.
But overall, the point stands that we are currently we dropped by more than 50% of purchasing power since the year 2000, and we are now less purchasing power
70 years
than we were 70 years ago.
Or 60 years ago, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's easy to see just going around and seeing what people can get with their money. And
but it's funny
that's why it was certainly possible to live off of a one-income household. Not only was it common just culturally and everything. It's just that's what you can do it logistically.
More possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, there's been a lot of fluctuations in purchasing power between all those years.
Right.
But basically, I want to look at 1955 because it's championed as like the 50s, the height of American
exceptionalism
and it also legitimately was a big economic boom because of the end of the war and the fact that America was then therefore one of the only standing manufacturing places in the world that hadn't been affected by all this war and that kind of stuff. So it had led to a lot of economic boom, and but main thing is just the people that it was striking to me. I was not that surprised by the comparison between now and 1955. I was surprised by how much it's changed just since 2000.
Yeah, that's what's crazy.
Like dropping, like the purchasing power of your money to gold going from you could get 125.
Yeah, and some people say like, well, that's just because gold just went up. But I mean, when you compare it even with gas, and you could do it with a lot of other things too.
Right, you've lost at least 50% of your purchasing power since the year 2000. In 15 years, it's dropped that much. And just about every metric I can compare.
A lot of stuff.
Just about every metric I can compare.
Right.
And
exactly.
I just chose gas and gold for this example because
the economy is still better, even though unemployment's insane.
Right. They keep pumping in new foreign workers.
Just because the stock market is high.
Right. Yeah, and just because the stock market, just because the banks are still able to print money.
Right.
The economy is doing well for you, obviously.
Right. Yeah, for the people who have stocks.
People who own the prints, essentially.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's a useful metric there that you can throw at your friends who don't, when you start using actual economic terms at them, they gloss over. Right, just be like, look, I can buy, with a year's worth of wages, I can buy less gas now than I could in 1955.
Yeah,
most
things.
And less than I could in the year 2000.
Now, there's some things that'll be changed because maybe we can make them so much cheaper now than we
can
back
then. That's the other thing that hides it so much.
Yeah.
Like, you can get a lot of
hedonistic adaptation and stuff. Or not hedonistic, what do they call it? They call it,
it's a form of normalcy bias, but I know what
you're talking about. When they're doing when they're actually doing the CPI and saying what you get, they say like, okay, if the base level phone in 10 years ago cost this much, and the base level phone this year cost X dollars, they say that this one is really, because the phones are so much more technologically advanced, that you're getting so much more for your dollar, so then they adjust it to make it look like, when it's really, it's like, well, you're going to be spending for communication X amount of dollars. You can't really get the 2000 phone and use it really anymore.
Right,
so.
Yeah, exactly. You have to look at it in the
and like, what's the lowest I could spend? Yeah,
right. Yeah,
because the infrastructure has changed where you can't use certain things anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But not only that, the manufacturing and the level of quality of construction, or many things factor into it. It's just we've found ways to make these things cheaper. Just they seem new and fanciful to us because they didn't exist before. But in terms of
it's hidden also by the fact because of inflation, there's a lot more money, and even though like you said, purchasing power, people see they were making $10,000, now we're making 30 or whatever, and so it seems like a lot more, but it doesn't matter what the number is. Right. It could be 1 million units. It could be, I have a Zimbabwe $150 trillion
That's what I want to look at. Because
a
simple way for you to explain to people the purchasing power and how bad off we are.
Right.
Because people look and they say $50,000 or $45,000 versus $3,000. They think, because the human brain doesn't really think about these things typically. Numbers can be very confusing to people. Obviously, that's more.
Right.
Well, yeah, no shit, it's more. However, everything else costs more.
Right.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
And for most part, like I said, this is even doing a comparison where most people really aren't making $45,000 in the year 2013, even though that's the average.
Well, the average, yeah. Because, I mean, the question is, when you meet a person, what's the percent chance that person is going to be over that amount of money? That would be a better metric than, what's the average when you just take all the earnings and average them out. Because if you have a town with, 100,000 people, and they're all making $10,000 a year, and one guy's making $20 million a year, the average is going to be skewed, even though almost everyone you run into is only going to be making $10,000. Right. And that's how it is in the country, too.
That's how it is in the country. Everyone you meet...
Chances are, most people you're making
50% of the people you meet will be making $35K and under.
Right, exactly. Probably more than 50% of the people in the country.
Something around 50% is what the IRS data that I could find. It's at least for the year that they had data, 2013.
But the average would tell you that a random person is going to be making around 45.
Right, it's $10,000 more simply because there's so many just the few outliers with billions of dollars. Right. Bill Gates skews the whole world. But yeah, the average American household is making something, or earner is making something around 35 or less.
Right.
You know, like you're literally half the people you meet will be making 35 or less is the easiest way.
Exactly.
And so that's the other thing too. Like even as purchasing power has gone down, the amount of people who are actually making the money there has gone down too. Like
so the dollars are becoming weakened, but people are making
less dollars.
Or fewer of them are making dollars. There's only like 90 million people that are bringing in an income or something right now.
Right.
Something crazy.
90 million?
Out of like 350, yeah.
Holy
it's like
God.
only actually earning any
That's
sort of money.
That's a lot less than I thought.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find that.
I don't even understand how we exist still sometimes.
Well, it's because they're printing money. They're printing literally trillions of dollars more than they're taking
the fact
in.
That
to hide it. Because these people are all, if they didn't have transfer payments, and you can't even really call them transfer payments because that money didn't even exist.
Right.
But if they didn't have
welfare
systems, Medicare, Medicaid, all that stuff, all these people it'd be like fucking Somalia out there.
Right.
Because these people don't have any money. They're
and
getting it from the government.
It's all kinds of dumb stuff. I mean, like, because, like, on the one hand, I agree that welfare is bad, and that like, you know, we have to get rid of this system that encourages laziness and all this other stuff. But on the other hand, you got these corporations and these big things that are sending jobs overseas and importing people from other countries. So what are some people supposed to do when the only thing they can do is blue collar work? You know, it's like it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, they're fucking us on both ends. They're making slaves with welfare, and they're getting rid of jobs with outsourcing and importation of cheap labor.
I can't find it right now, but yeah, it's something crazy like that. Like how many people are actually only working?
Yeah, we'll have to find that at some point. Anyway,
I'll try and put.
Hopefully, we can find some more funny topics to away from this depressing bit of the actual economic decline. Yeah.
All right, so what do we got?
So more from the hive of scum and villainy that's Facebook, and just the because it's always just people linking to the dumbest articles, like championing some stupid way of thinking that needs to go.
Right.
And this is one that some friend's girlfriend linked to it. You know, like meant it innocently enough, I'm sure, but it's just the dumb stuff. It was I think it was French or Spanish, because like I don't remember what article or group it was from.
Yeah.
Because the initial one, like the posters. It was little like digital posters like of aphorisms around. People like
God,
these
I hate that.
Drawings of like these women and all these things like
everyone's beautiful. Right,
something like that, but even worse. We'll get to it in a second. But I don't know what exactly it was from because the original like article was in Italian or something like that, or French or English or something, or not or Spanish. But anyway, the posters themselves were in English, so you could read them. But they were all weird. Like the first one is like this drawing of this woman. And it's all like, you know, so-and-so, it's like Sandy decided not to have children.
Oh, I saw that. It's a huge one where they were saying everything's awesome.
Like, having children is your choice.
This girl doesn't want to shave her armpits.
Right. They're not like Mandy decided not to shave, and it's this drawing of this woman with like hairy legs.
Woman, hairy armpits.
Yeah, like she's wearing like a cocktail dress, and then one leg is sticking out like a blurry pose, but it's hairy.
Right.
And it's like, good for you, like Mandy. You don't like shaving is a choice. Like the words that repeated the most were "is a choice" in all of these, and it's like,
well, they're right about that.
Right. Yeah, but that was what's so dumb.
And
there was another one like
my choice to not bathe and spit in people's
I have a choice to do
things
that people don't find attractive. Nobody's saying you don't. It's just that it is obvious what things people do and do not find attractive.
The best way I've heard it described is what a person may find is beautiful is subjective. What's an objective fact is that most people tend to find the same things as beautiful. And
it wasn't even just beauty stuff that they were talking about.
I know. It's about all sorts.
There was another one like it shows like a woman like, you know, like
I've seen this
Isil or something, you know, wears the hijab or whatever, like the headscarf, you know,
or whatever.
And it's like, and it's like she's not just another. Like you can ignore all those people who say you're just another woman oppressed by Islam. Wearing it is a choice. You go, girl. Like it's like. No, wearing it is not a choice. That's the whole reason it exists.
I mean, for some people in the U.S. it is. I mean,
but I'm saying like, the whole reason it exists is because it's a cultural norm. It's something saying you need to do this to be respectable within our society.
Exactly.
Now, I'm not even commenting on whether or not that's a good idea.
Right.
I'm just saying
it's not even a value statement.
It's not even a value statement. That may actually be a very wise way to conduct your society.
Who knows? Yeah.
Who knows?
Right.
I don't want to live like the Arabs, but you know, like.
Without even getting into whether it's even like good, bad, or beneficial or not.
But not even touching that, saying like it's a choice, and you go like. What does that even fucking mean? Like, when you're not in Saudi Arabia, it is a choice.
It's just like
in Saudi Arabia, it's not a choice.
Murder is a choice in the U.S.
Yeah, exactly.
Still end up in jail for it, but I mean, it's a choice.
I could sit, you know, I could go pee right now or pee later.
Shitting in public's a choice. It's going to end up with a fine.
Right, yeah, exactly. It was all these, just the dumbest aphorisms. And the whole thing was about, like, you know, the person who linked to it was like, like, I don't understand, or I hate people who are always trying to like judge other people's lives or tell them what they should do. That's why aphorisms like these are always important. I'm like, this is for weak people. This is for people who need somebody to approve of them. That's like you say, I don't need people's approval.
Seeking.
I don't need your approval. I get to live the way I want. And then when somebody doesn't approve, you break down and go, no, it's approving.
Right. Well, it's just like how the battle to get everyone to be considered beautiful, like we were just talking about last time, I think. It's not really about whether they're think that they're beautiful or not, because it really, it's about them getting approval from outside. It's validation from outside source.
They're just so farcical, because like you said, in the end, if nobody had made something like this, I wouldn't have cared. I don't care about all the women in the world who don't want to have kids.
Or who don't shave
or whatever. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't care about all the women who don't shave.
Right.
I would not even know they exist.
Right.
But now that you had to make some poster trying to champion the cause, and now I'm just like, what? Now I feel like I need to tell this person to like grow the fuck up and embarrass them publicly on Facebook. You know, like, but like if you never said it, no, there's nothing to be gained by that. But here's what something might be gained by. I think I should do a series of like parody ones, like like dudes. Getting swole is a choice.
Like so he wants to sit in his room and play video games all day and not work.
Right,
that's a choice.
Right, that's a choice. His mom says that he's just a waste of his life and he's not respecting women. It's a choice.
Yeah, he wants to man spread on the subway.
Right,
that's a choice.
Yeah, exactly. Like I should do a series of these.
Man spreading.
That's
one of the worst.
Mansplaining.
Manspreading. I use that stuff. I use it as often as possible in the most ridiculous scenarios, just to show people how stupid it is. And dare them to come out and go, that's a real problem.
Right, yeah, exactly. Because
like, there's a certain words, and I think this will be we can go out on this.
Right, yeah.
But we don't have to go out. We can talk about it.
Right, but I mean, this is
a certain number of lists, and if everyone ever uses them seriously, not only
you are off my friends list.
Well, they instantly go from the my friends column to people I know column.
Right, yeah, exactly. I'm aware of their existence.
They've let me know that they're midwits at best who are not to be taken seriously, or just not to be taken seriously, and are also dangerous. People like that are dangerous to be around.
Yeah, because they're always complaining about something or looking for some way to blacklist people,
and they almost without fail rely on outside forces to make you do what they want.
Right.
That's the thing about feminism. What's so weird about feminism, and I also honestly see this within like the men's rights group, as opposed to just guys talking about men's issues, but like the ones who specifically consider themselves
the police and the law to force them.
Whenever I hear anyone talk about rights, I'm like, you know what? I don't believe in rights. I believe in freedoms. When you talk about rights, you're talking about like something that someone should do or should allow you to do, and I'm like, fuck all that. All you need to do is leave me alone. You don't have to do anything. I don't give a fuck what you do.
Right.
You just don't tell me what to do. That's what freedom is. Rights is about how society or someone else should do things to make it better for you.
Right.
At least that's how people mean it.
Right.
So so when you look at like a feminist, or a lot of times even men's rights, or groups, they're all telling you about what other people should do to make the world right. Whereas if you just go to like a website and you're like an actual one that's about dudes and men's issues or whatever, and even women and real women's issues, if you go into like a website and the guy's like, dude, I've never had any trouble with women and all this, and he sends a picture, he works at McDonald's, he's 400 pounds, what are the first thing that people are going to say? Get your fucking shit together.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas if you go to a feminist website and they say, I'm 400 pounds, I don't have a boyfriend, they're going to be like, oh, these guys just need to learn that you're beautiful at any size. They're going to say all the things the other people should be doing.
It's all the difference
instead of
changing you
looking at
changing everybody else.
Taking responsibility for your destiny. And it's the same with some of the men's rights sites. They'll be like, oh, women are just bitches, you have to go your own way, and never, like, they're just fucked up, and they don't appreciate masculinity or whatever, which some of those things are true in deep levels, but it's the same thing. When you're looking to other people and need them to change, then that's just not the way to do it. You know what I mean?
And I get it.
And people do need to change, but that's not the way you can go through life, is trying to change everyone else.
It can be depressing to know that you can put a lot of work into improving yourself, and then...
Like, yes, the world would be better if everyone fix their own shit, but... Your life is too short to try and fix everyone else's lives. Fix your own, and you can improve yourself so much more.
Yeah. But like also...
Not to mention, they don't realize how many of these other people's misbehavior is enabled by you just not being the best person that you can be.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But back to some of these words, though, because I think we were going down...
The list
of words.
The list of words automatically give you the... pff, and put you from the "you're my friend" to "someone I know" column.
If used seriously.
And just get open guffaws. One would be trigger warning, to use seriously. Yeah. Cultural appropriation, which we just used. Any sort of shaming.
It's not even
body
saying that
shaming,
cultural appropriation isn't a thing in the sense. It's how they use it.
Well, anything can be a thing, because words have meaning, so...
Right, yeah. But I mean, like...
Shaming someone for being fat is different than the word fat shaming.
Right, no, but I'm saying, like... for example, cultural appropriation. Yeah. All cultures have appropriated or mimicked other cultures in some way.
The problem is that most of these words, when you use the real definition of what that would mean, it's so obtuse to me not to mean anything.
Right.
Like, okay,
or
so
only comes up in academia, but now it's this buzzword.
I mean, it would literally mean a culture using some element of another culture. That's all it would really mean.
Which we are all copying the ancient Egyptians because we built, buildings.
It really means you're saying so much that you're not really saying anything. It's so broad and obtuse. Right. Or like fat shaming. Shaming someone for being fat. Okay, that doesn't really mean anything other than exactly what it means. Right. Shaming someone for being fat.
And when they become these buzzwords, people use them seriously.
So yeah, so on my list is like anything that's blank shaming, anything with shaming,
right? Yeah.
Cultural appropriation,
shaming,
trigger warning, blank positivity, stuff like that. I know there's a few more. I didn't write them down, so I'm just trying to have to come up with them off the top of my head.
That was another funny one too. It's funny. Like I think I showed you this guy. It's like some guy who just got like an Imager account and he just does these Photoshop things.
Right.
But they're usually parodies of that kind of stuff. Like he did one where like one's like, that doesn't control my life. You can't make me afraid. I'm AB positive and proud of it. But like talking about all those positivity campaigns where it's for like a blood type.
Yeah, like A positive.
A positive.
O positive.
I'm AB positive and my life doesn't control that doesn't control my life, you bigot.
Right.
You know, and stuff like that. Like AB positivity campaign, you know.
I think what's good is that I think you're seeing a lot of people, especially the younger people, and the younger men especially, are starting to realize that
how much of a cudgel this stuff is.
Well, just
you
how
over the head with
that, and it's almost irrelevant what they do. It's like a learned helplessness.
Yeah,
you know, it's just like in Animal House. You're like, oh god, and he's like, no, please no. I was like, look, I got news here. They're gonna nail us no matter what we do.
Right,
we're gonna have a fucking toga party.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So some people slink away and just are so worried about being perceived as a bro or whatever that.
Right. Yeah.
They're worried about. Yeah, but see, then I don't like the other people who go into... And I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong specifically with, like, quote, men's rights. But it's just become the same thing as, like, feminism has become.
Well,
and
some
like
of the men's rights organizations.
Right, yeah, that's
the
what
idea
I mean,
of men's rights.
And most of the people who would consider themselves a men's rights activists kind of fall into that same camp as, like, a feminist. I consider myself a freedom, you know,
right, like, I would consider myself a men's rights activist in the sense that I'm a person's rights activist, like mankind's
That's what I mean.
rights.
So when it comes down to it, you're not really saying anything. Like I said, I'm pro-freedom. Right. If you consider that some issues are about men's freedom,
it is a sign of the time that they have to have that. You know, I understand that it's gotten so bad in certain courts that there almost needs to be a focus on how these things are affecting men.
Oh, I know, and I'm not even saying that like, oh, men's don't have rights issues. I'm saying that there are issues that affect men, but the way that the men's rights term has sort of become sort of like one of these things that
unfortunately, yeah. But anyway, like some of the other, was there any other
seems to attract a lot of. I'm thinking I can't think of any specifically others.
Problem is, there are all some variations of that. Right. I was trying to think of some other ones too, but shaming, like I said, any of the blank.
Well, anything just like any ist, feminist, sexist,
all
ableist, you know what I mean,
misogynist, cisgender. That one's an immediate disqualified.
Well, I don't even hang out with people who would actually use those seriously anyway.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like that'd be another one. I would immediately be like, if anyone says like cisgendered or something like that, or like transphobic, or phobic is another one. Yeah. It's like phobic is no longer meaning what it has meant. It's all politically correct things.
Have like an irrational fear of something to where you can't even function.
I've never met a homophobic.
No, neither have I.
I've never met someone who cowered in the corner thinking the gays were going to get them.
Like arachnophobia or someone who has like fear of heights and trembling at the thought of going upstairs.
Right, yeah, exactly.
In the presence of gays, they can't function. Yeah.
You're like, no, never. I've never met a guy who came across the crescent moon symbol or something and was like, oh God!
I've met people who are crusading against it to the point where I think it's like, dude, just wasting your time. Yeah. It's just like, why bother? Like, I think these things should be legal. See, there's a difference. I don't think that anything should be legal. I don't think the government should be allowing. I just think it's not the government's place to have anything to do with it at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I don't agree with legalization of anything. I agree with getting the government the fuck out of the way.
You don't need permission.
Because the question has become, what should the government allow? You know what I mean?
It's the wrong question.
It's the wrong question.
Why do I need their permission?
Right, exactly.
It's the right question.
Exactly. Yep. So that's it. So I can't think. I'll try to think of more. But yeah, that was the list. I'm sure.
Well, the problem is they're all breakdowns of that. It's all breakdown of like trigger something.
Right.
Trigger warning.
Cultural appropriation.
Some sort of cisgender,
some
something
shaming or bullying.
Yeah, some sort of blank hyphen shaming.
Right.
And some sort of like cultural appropriation. And and positivity.
Yeah,
some sort of something positivity. Yeah, like and choice is also almost a trigger word at this point.
Yeah, anything with choice.
Something like it's my choice.
Very like
choice, or like a women's choice, and like what? it's meaningless at this point because, like, yes, everything is a choice, but they're imbuing it with some sort of sacred meaning, like abortion's a choice, or like what you wear is a choice.
Of course,
they're not saying choice,
right?
Like the real word choice. They're saying choice. They're saying choice. With
anytime you say choice, you could replace it with is a right that shouldn't even is beyond criticism from other people.
Right, that's what they mean.
Yeah,
a
don't even say,
choice
like,
now
these
does
are
not
all
mean
like the
a
not
decision.
shaving. Since when is it illegal to shave your legs? Anyone could not shave their legs.
Right.
You just face you have to deal with the fact that most people think that's gross.
Now, what they mean is, I have done something that everyone should praise.
Well, they think it's beyond criticism. Yeah.
Not only that, they say I have done something that everyone should praise. Is what it literally means.
It's not enough to not even just say something to them in public.
It's not enough to be ignored or not
awesome.
criticized. You have to celebrate. I have done something that everyone should praise. Is literally what they mean when they say positivity or choice. At this point. Like, because there was one there like, I decided not to lose weight. You go, Amanda. Like, your body's a choice, and like, or something like that, and like, you don't need to fit their standards to be.
But somehow
happy.
thinking that they're stupid is never a choice.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
That they allow.
It's also a choice for me to think you're a stupid person,
and they're physically
and I have chosen to think you're a stupid person.
Well, that's why it's fun to flip it around on them and just be like, "What are you saying that I can't love who I want?"
Yeah, exactly.
That way.
Those ones, yeah.
So like what? So gay people deciding that they like a dick in their mouth can be from birth, but me deciding I don't want huge fat fools slopping on me, that's something that I'm choosing.
Yeah. Right, yeah, exactly. That would be a hilarious campaign too.
Way.
Like I was born this way. I only like hotties. I was just born this way. Don't hate me.
If someone can be born to like dude ass, I can be born to like pert gigantic jubblies on a thin, slender frame.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I mean, to be honest, I'm joking, but that's true. I didn't choose to like attractive women over fatties.
The exact case of what's happening.
And to be honest, I was never one of the people I always assumed that gay people were at least didn't choose to be attracted to dudes.
Right.
Because I mean, like, why would you? Honestly, if it was a real choice, why would you?
No.
But
well, that's the reason.
It's just it was always irrelevant to me. Lots of people have desires that are natural. You have a desire to kill and steal and stuff like that, and get angry and passionate.
That's the part. That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't necessarily mean that
what I was
the desire
say
being natural doesn't mean that it's okay.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's not, but it doesn't mean it is.
Right.
It's just irrelevant.
The facts of those things are not moral statements in of themselves.
It's a
people can't make that
argument because they're like, "Oh, it's natural." It's like, and your point is,
so is cannibalism in certain parts of the world.
I mean, just lots of urges are natural. That says nothing about whether you should or shouldn't be doing it.
Right. Exactly. So, but even if you get away from that judgment on things like sexuality, it's like so what? You know, like you try to have it both ways. You know, like where it's natural they were born that way. Well, I was born heterosexual, so you're going to persecute me for being born heterosexual,
not liking fat people,
or not liking fat people, or not
women
not
with hairy
wanting to stick
legs
my
or whatever.
Dick in another dick's, plate.
Dick in a dick hole and a bigger dick hole.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I don't know where I was going with that one.
I know. Well, obviously we're not for experts at this. I'm sorry. I don't know how it. Yeah, some other dick's asshole. Back dick and some other dick's asshole. Wait, what? Some people think cucumbers taste better pickled. What? Huh?
On that lucid note, we'll probably call it.
That's English and English guys signing off.
Adios.